All right. Los Angeles, Orange County, wherever you may be a Rams fan around the country, welcome into LAFB Live. I'm your host, Ryan Dyer, joined by the other Ryan, Ryan Anderson, beat writer for the LA
Yeah,
Football
I think
Network on the
I changed
Rams.
my name or something.
That's okay. This is the Ryan Hour. It's the Power Hour with Ryan. We can
Yeah.
call it that.
All right, I like that.
Good.
Yeah, down here in
Well,
Irvine, beautiful Irvine, UC Irvine campus. It's a great day.
there you go. Yeah, you were at camp all day, so excited to get into your observations from this day 5 Rams camp. So, but before we do, have you been to camp before since they've been back here in LA?
Oh, this is my very first Rams camp. I probably would have gone last season since I was covering them as well last year, but we all know how that turned out. Much
Yeah.
better version this year, and half masked down here in Orange County, half unmasked down here. But a really good showing, and yeah, Rams fans are some of the best in the world, so it was good to hang out with them today.
Yeah, a lot of naked faces down in Orange County. So it's from being up here in LA County. It is nice when you're outside, getting some fresh air and being able to breathe. And it was a little cooler. It was like 97 up here, so you got a little break from the heat, right? Tiny bit.
Yeah, little ocean breeze every now and again. They have a nice setup though. You're out of the sun for most of it. You're standing in line for a little bit, but yeah, good tree cover, and the stands are covered, so it's all good.
That's good. Yeah. So I was there all last week, as I've said probably many times. I was amazed how many fans were there. I mean, every day, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, it was packed. Every stands. Was it pretty busy today for a Monday?
Yeah. The stands are 90% full for Monday. And all the Rams fans were out. It's lots of Aaron Donald jerseys, lots of brand new Matthew Stafford jerseys. So, yeah, it was. There was a good showing here today. The stands were pretty packed.
Love it. Love it. Yeah. Rams Nation showing up in a big way all camp long. So people are just ready for football to be back. And I know we are too. So we are going to get into that. So, well, Ryan, let's just start with this. Since you were down there, you don't have to list it all because we'll get through all of it. But just off the top, what's just one thing that popped at you at camp? Whether it was a player, whether it was a play, whether it was in a fan exchange, what's just one thing that popped on this Monday down at Rams camp?
Yeah, there were a couple of really big standouts. The one that really surprised me was Ben Skowronek. Was making a lot of catches. He was using his length to grab some balls, and yeah, I wasn't sure what to expect from him. As a rookie, lower draft pick, but he went up and made some plays, showing off some good route running too. So I think it's a good sign for the future of that guy.
Yeah, I love it. He's a guy that drafted in the 7th round, so not super high expectations, but like you mentioned, a long guy, better speed, or I should say like deceptive speed. So he's had a good camp thus far. So good to see that. Was he mostly running with like the 3s and 4s, or was he getting in there with the 2s every now and then?
He was in there with the 2s a lot, actually. So yeah, they're using him quite a bit.
That's great.
And he had he ran some a little bit with the 1s too.
There you go. Love to see it. So it helps. I mean, not helps, but obviously when you have someone like Tutu Atwell out still on COVID, those reps get to be had by the younger guys, and you want to see players take advantage of that. So good to see he's taking advantage.
Yeah. And speaking of Tutu, Robert Rochelle was out today too. Hang on, let these guys pass.
Yeah, there you go. You're still in the thick of it out there.
They're done. Yeah, Robert Rochelle was out. Jacob Harris was on the field, but he was just doing a little stretching. But I really wanted to see Rochelle and Tutu Atwell, so it'll be good to see those rookies out there getting their reps.
Yeah, they'll be back soon for sure, which we are looking forward to. And obviously in preseason, once that starts here in just 2 weeks for the Rams, they should be good to go by then and get some action against some other teams. So, well, I guess we can start with the offense. I'm an offensive guy. We seem to start that a lot on this show, and then we'll work towards the defense. But I've thought, in my opinion, from what I saw last week, the Stafford connection with all the receivers looked good. It looked in midseason form. Him and Kupp, him and Woods, him and Deshaun Jackson looked like they were clicking on all cylinders. How did that look today? with the units, and did it look like just kind of still picking up progress, picking up steam? Any concerns at all, or was it basically all systems go for those that triage, if you will?
That the takeaway from those star players is they looked like star players today. Deshaun, Cooper Cup, and Robert Woods all made big catches that were just hitting them on the move. Deep down the field, crossers. It all looked really good. I didn't have a good view of the running game, but they were really mixing it up with the backs back there. So I saw Henderson, we saw Xavier Jones, and Calais ran a bit too, but I couldn't tell you exactly. I didn't have a great view of the running backs.
Yeah, it's until they're full contact too, it's really hard to see how the running game goes. And I said this a bunch last week, so maybe you saw it. Obviously, you saw it. Now you're there, but the way Rams camp is set up, it's great because you can maneuver everywhere you want to go. So if they're on the other field, you can get over there. But it's so large. It's such a massive operation. There's so many fans that there's times you really just can't see what's going on. You can't go up to the fence because they don't let you stand there. So it can be tough sometimes to really kind of dive in and try to get into the nitty gritty.
Yeah, it was one of the joys of being here was watching the security guards constantly shooing fans away from the fence.
Oh man, yeah, yeah,
that's a hard job here to do it.
Very hard.
Yeah, moving around. I had something else about that, but
well, let's stick with Stafford real quick, and then we'll get to that.
Sure.
Mentioned by LA Rams FC, who's in here. Thanks for the shout out. We were going to get to that, but we'll get to it now since you brought it up. Very into practice. Stafford hits his thumb on a helmet. We all know that well when Jared Goff did that in week 16 and ended up missing the game against Arizona. And then that became the whole, John Walford saga and all that. And all the rest is history. Stafford hit it up, I believe afterwards he got it wrapped up, didn't pass again, but McVay kind of stayed mum on the whole issue, just saying, yeah, well, I don't know the full extent of it. We'll see. Did you see anything that happened? Was it far away from the play? Any advice, any takeaways there? Or just what we know?
He looked like he was gripping the ball well. He looked like he was ripping it out. So I couldn't tell. I didn't see anything on his hands that of note that was looked too
concerning,
medicinal or something. Or protective. There's no protective equipment on the hand. So, yeah, it seems like he may have moved on from that.
Yeah, so we'll definitely keep an eye on that because, McVay didn't really touch on it. So we'll see tomorrow. Hopefully he'll be all systems go. But yeah, he stopped throwing after the injury, but it was right at the very end of practice, I think. From what I heard. I wasn't there, obviously, but you would know. But so, yeah, we'll keep everyone watching. We'll keep a close ear on that, both Ryan and I, and keep everyone updated as soon as we know anything. And then we'll see. Hopefully I'll be there tomorrow. So we'll see the extent of that tomorrow. But at this point, no real word on the extent of it. So fingers crossed that it's nothing more than just a jam that they just precautionary kept him out the rest of practice. I think you were starting to say something else with the running game, or was there something else you were moving on to?
Oh, no. I couldn't, like I said, it was difficult to see the running game. So I don't have a lot to report on that, but they were really switching it up. They weren't relying on one back as it were. So
yeah, which is good to see. We want to see a full rotation outside of Hendo. Offensive line, it's going to be pretty steady. I think, Austin Corbett's your center unless something tragically happens, he gets injured. Did you see any good battles on offensive line at all from your vantage point, or was it pretty cut and dry with the five, which the five, as I have it now, are Whitworth, David Edwards, Austin Corbett, Bobby Evans, and Rob Havenstein. That seems like your five going into the season. And that's what it seemed like last week. It seemed pretty cut and dry still moving forward.
Yeah. Brian Allen was only taking center snaps on some of the second unit stuff. But other than that, Corbett was taking a lot of snaps, first team, second team. So I think that's pretty much set unless something happens, like you said, which hopefully not, because the depth there is working me.
Knock on wood. So, that's a good thing. So I think the offense. Oh, go ahead.
Oh, the Whitworth was one of the last guys on the field, and Havenstein and Corbett were working with Jacob Harris on some blocking technique. So that was pretty cool to see that they're working with him late after practice.
Love it. Yeah. Coach Witt. He's going to be, if he wants to, he'll be a coach immediately when you're retired at the end of the season, whether it's with the Rams, another team, or whatnot, if he wants to. I'm sure he wants to take at least a year or two away. But yeah, I think the offense is fairly, I think the offensive line is pretty much set. We know Hendo is going to be the starting back with the rotation after. We know our starting 3 receivers, with Van Jefferson and Djax, depending on the personnel groupings there. So the defense is more where it gets kind of interesting, because obviously we know the big dogs, Aaron Donald and Jalen Ramsey and Darius Williams now. But aside from that, there could be a lot of movement. One thing that I was surprised last week was seeing Justin Hollins as your starting edge guy alongside, Leonard Floyd, which none of us really talked about in the offseason much. Is always thought it was going to be Obo or maybe Terrell Lewis if healthy. Was Justin Hollins still out there taking reps with the ones, and how did he look, if so?
The first thing you notice about him is he is a big man.
Big dude.
He's a mountain of a man. He's and that's among other big men. So that's the first thing you notice about him. And he was out there for a lot of reps, and he was looking good. He was looking fast. He's got some nice bend. So it's encouraging to see that him out there. Terrell Lewis, on the other hand, wasn't taking a lot. Didn't seem like he was moving quite as fast. So that's unfortunate to see that. We'd like to see him at 100% at some point.
Yeah, I know. It's interesting if they're just trying to ease him back. 'Cause I noticed that too. It's just not a lot of reps. So it's interesting if they're just easing him back into things from the injury. If he's just not picking up Raheem Morris's playbook as quickly as they like, we'll have to look into that insight on that. But as of now, yeah, Justin Hollins seems like the guy, which is interesting because played edge in college, was drafted by the Broncos in the 5th round to be an edge guy, an edge depth piece, released by the Broncos, added by the Rams. Then last year, I believe they actually kind of moved him inside to be a depth piece as an inside backer, but he had versatility. And then now it looks like they're fully moving him back to edge, which is where he's most comfortable. And he may end up being a starter on this Rams team, which I thought he was great at Oregon. So I think it'll be fun. And he fits the Raheem Morris build of long, big guys. When you look at Leonard Floyd, that's exactly his profile. So him and Hollins make probably 2 of the longest edge guys in the league, I would think.
Yeah, it seems like that. We're firing up the.
It doesn't sound that loud on our end, so I'm sure it's probably louder to you than it is to us. More distracting for you. Joys of being live at camp.
I thought the field would be fun.
Where are you at? Are you? How far are you away from the field? Actually, I'm trying to think where you are. Are you down at like the exit?
Right. So what we were talking about, Justin Hollins moving back outside.
Yeah, I was just saying. I think him and Leonard Floyd are probably 2 of the longest edge duos in the league. So, which will fit right into what Raheem Morris wants to do. But let's talk a little about safeties. I don't know how much you saw them, that grouping. I noticed last week that it was Rapp and Fuller were your 2 starters, with Burgess kind of rotating in, playing some nickel as well. They got Nick Scott involved also. Any change there, or was that seem to be the personnel groupings? They're rotating all around?
Who impressed me was Kareem Orr.
Okay.
A name that I haven't come across too much in my time studying the Rams, but he was Johnny on the spot on special teams earlier in the day, and then later when they were doing some 7-on-7s, he broke up a pass to Van Jefferson, and then picked off the very next pass, also going to Van Jefferson. So that definitely makes an impression. I don't know a lot about the guy, but that kind of play is going to get you noticed by Raheem Morris, and he's always looking to advance those younger, less experienced players. So he might find himself a spot for special teams. But what I was thinking of earlier when we were talking about Hollins was that he's the kind of player that the Rams really need to step up and and make that kind of impression and that kind of starting quality. And it seems like they've continually had that ability to do so, and he's just another example if he's able to make that kind of impression continually.
Yeah, well, that was one of the biggest question marks I think this offseason was who's going to be the guy outside of Leonard Floyd, because we saw in the playoff game when Aaron Donald was banged up, they really could get no pressure when it was just Floyd having to rush the quarterback. And so they really need that second tier guy that can be a good prototype or a good balance, if you will, Tim. So hopefully Justin Hollins can be that. Or if Terrell Lewis ends up getting healthy, but they don't have to force him into 90% snaps, they can just have him in rotationally or in NASCAR packages or just third down specialists. I think that behooves him better because he's not forced to really put pressure on those knees that seem to not hold up very well. And then Obo, we can see situationally where he can be explosive. So seeing Justin Hollins as a starter, I think is a good thing. So I think that just shows they do have more depth than maybe we anticipated. And they're not forcing one of the names that we all think should start. They're not having to force him to start because Hollins is showing out and they can use other guys situationally. So I think that's a good thing. So let's kind of wrap up, Brian, with just some takeaways from actual team sessions. So who had it today? Was it the offense leading the charge? The defense do good? Was there good plays by both? What were the takeaways, just overall, couple, 3, 4, 5 takeaways from just the team session?
Oh, one of the takeaways with John Wolford was he had a pretty bad few reps there. Fumbled the snap, threw an interception. Didn't seem like he was clicking. But when they moved into a hurried up offense, he seemed to work a lot better under that kind of strain. And I thought that was really interesting to see. He was moving the ball around to a bunch of different receivers. He was hitting Tristan Jackson, Van Jefferson. And so that was a fun drill to watch and see him processing, those receivers that quickly. So I'd be curious to see how if they challenge him, more in that way.
Yeah, absolutely. And Tristan Jackson, I'd like you mentioned him. He's had a good camp thus far. Obviously, it's a loaded receiver room. So, outside of your I think you're 4 guaranteed, obviously Woods, Cup, D-Jax, and Tutu. And then Van Jefferson probably too. So those are probably your guaranteed 5. And they're basically, I don't think they'll keep more than 6. So you have a lot of good players vying for that 6th spot. But Tristan Jackson's making a name for himself. And even if he doesn't end up on the squad, whether it's P squad or not, I think he'll be picked up by someone else too. So that's definitely a guy to look out for. So Ryan Anderson, it's been great. Any final takeaways from day 5 in Irvine down at Rams camp?
I've got my eye on the long snappers. It's a personal frustration of mine that I don't understand what they're doing in that way. I saw exactly one long snap, and it was by, Orzek. I think Orzek is his name.
Yeah.
He did a fine job.
Yeah, but it's a big change because we've had the same guy forever, so could be concerning. Hopefully not, but could be. So we'll keep an eye on that.
Thanks for having me on. This was fantastic, and hopefully we'll be able to come down to Irvine together next couple of days.
Absolutely. That's the plan. Keep up the great work. Ryan Anderson, beat writer for the Rams right here on LA Football Network. You can find all of his work at LAFBnetwork.com. We just put up a great article he wrote, and I'm sure you'll have another 1 or 2 this week following some observations here. So appreciate you. Keep the good work. Did you get a little giveaway when you went? I got this 2 days I went. I got this cool little Rams towel. They were giving away the see-through bags.
Yeah, it's necessary for these events. They don't let you carry any bag.
That's a solid giveaway. Really okay. Yeah, you scored big. I got the towel, and then I got this. I need to put it up somewhere, but I got this pretty cool little poster here.
Yeah, there you go.
All right, yeah, Rams camp showing out, giving away some goodies. So if you're going there down to Irvine, guys, you can get some good stuff. So, that's probably the time I got because Mia's starting to go crazy. Yeah, she did pretty good. That's why I'm not at camp, no babysitter. But Ryan, I appreciate you. Keep up the good work, and we'll talk soon. All right, brother.